Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday. I leave for No Name. Well, I should be leaving for No Name tomorrow morning, but transmission went out on my truck, so we're going to be doing a 2-day thrash to put a 5.3 4L60 in it. Hopefully make it. And I still got some work to do to the Le Mans, so let's get started and see if we can get something done. All right, get the Le Mans pulled outside. The old all-wheel drive truck over there, looking good. It's time to get started on this thing. First things first, got our coolant bucket under there. We're gonna start draining the coolant. All right, so this little drain cock right here, it's got the spout on the side. I'll put a little rubber hose on it, run it down there to that bucket that's under there, and if it goes right, it should all drain the coolant out. That's a big if. All right, we got the coolant draining. Now it's just time to start taking stuff off until we get everything off. And what I like to do is I like to start from the top and then we'll work my way down. Since I'm pulling motor and transmission together, that makes it a little easier. There's a bracket over there. I'm going to unbolt that. Made it, back of the truck. Woo! I'm gonna go ahead and unplug all the sensors, even though I'm not going back with the 5.7. I will be using part of this wire harness. Okay, so first thing I need to do is unhook the battery. It does help that I've done this enough times to where I kind of know where everything is, what everything takes to do. I could just cut all these grounds and stuff, but I mean, really it takes just a couple minutes just to take them off. Right, I will be modifying this wire and harness so I can run the gauges and everything inside the truck like I did on my all-wheel drive truck. Kind of nice having it like factory where everything works inside the truck. Yeah, all these little bits and pieces, I don't really throw them away because I've actually sold some of this stuff on Marketplace. You know, other guys rebuilding an OBS truck may not have all these parts. Wants to buy them, they don't want to spend the money on new stuff. I'll gladly sell them crap I got laying around. For these spring clamps, I use this. Mine's a Blue Point, but they sell it. You can even get the Harbor Freight version. If you don't have one of these for these spring clamps, then you're still using the old vice grip method, then I suggest you get one of these. It's the way to do it. Now on the all-wheel drive truck, I went with an electric fan and everything. On this one, just to save time and headache, I'm just going to use the engine-driven fan. There's no reason not to. We'll find a 10mm, get those out. I think I have all the wiring unhooked, except for underneath. Make sure you keep track of bolts like these because you're going to need them. You're going to see me throw everything in a pile. That's because I know what goes where. If you've never done this before, a good method is baggies, sandwich baggies, and label them with a Sharpie. You know, fan shroud, you know, water pump, whatever you may be taking off. Plus, something happens and you need to sell the project, or you just lose interest, sell the project, the next guy will very much appreciate that. I'm not that nice. If something happens to me and somebody ends up my projects, they're getting a basket case. Sorry for you. All right, so there's 2 bolts over here, 2 bolts over here, 3 bolts across the top. That'll get the top of your fan shroud to where it'll come off. Then you got the rubber bushings. If you're lucky enough, you still have them like these. They're in pretty good shape. And the bottom has like 3 10mm bolts on the bottom one. So I'll have to crawl underneath it and get those now. All right, now part of what killed the transmission in this truck, and I know it, didn't even think about it, is it still has a factory transmission cooler in the radiator. That is not sufficient for pulling heavy loads. I know better than to do it, but I did it anyway. And ended up cooking the transmission in this thing. Now this truck does have 343,000 miles on it, so I mean, the cooler's not the only factor in this. But it damn sure didn't help nothing. All right, so far we've took the fan shroud off, we've drained the coolant, took the upper radiator hose off, we unplugged all the engine connections, slated it off to the side. We got the battery unhooked. We're gonna pull the lower radiator hose off. You got to pull the exhaust off, unhook the starter, transmission mount, and a couple other connections and motor mount bolts, and it's ready to pull. These things are pretty simple coming out as long as all the bolts come out. And that's the key, as long as all the bolts come out. All right, I'm also going to take the serpentine belt off because I'm actually going to pull the power steering pump off, and I'm going to try not to even unhook it. I'm going to try to use it on the LS swap. Didn't try that on the all-wheel drive truck, but I think it'll work. Well, that sucks. One thing that I ain't gonna do on this, I'm gonna pull the compressor off AC did work on it, but it's leaking Freon real bad out the front seal of the compressor. These R4 compressors or A4 compressors suck, so I'm not going to be reusing it. I'll use a newer style compressor, but we will be putting AC back on this truck. It's hard to believe, but this old junk OBS truck is actually one of my favorite vehicles I own. Will it be the same with the LS? Nope, it's not gonna be. But I'm also not gonna spend, you know, $1,000+ to have a 700 R4 worn out or rebuilt. Plus, it has a the engine uses a lot of oil, like to go like from here to Springfield, which is about an hour drive. It uses over a quart of oil, so yeah, it's just worn out. So it needs a lot of parts, needs a lot of money spent on it. I could rebuild everything, yes, but and I know some guys hate LSs. That's all right. You don't have to like them. You don't have to like what I'm doing. God, these clips are a bastard on here. Usually you can just push those right in and that thing goes right out. Can't find my damn channel locks. That one's the throttle cable, the other one's cruise control. Shit. There we go. All right. Now, this one right here, that's to the throttle valve cable. The TV cable goes to the 700 R4. We're pulling engine transmission together, so we don't have to worry about that one. All right, now we're gonna pull this power steering pulley off. This is the puller I have. I've had this thing for years. It's actually a Mac Tools one. At one point, somebody welded a socket on it. One of my buddies that I worked with, Dave, he actually gave me that puller when he bought a new one. Just hold on to it and tighten this bolt and it pulls that pulley on. This pulley's pressed on and you do have to have a special installer to put it back on. You might be tempted to use an impact on this. Bad idea. All right, we got all the bolts out. Just got one motor mount bolt left. Power steering pump's off. Got the exhaust off. One thing I got to do is unhook the drive shaft, transmission cooler lines, throw the chain on it, and then we're ready to yank this 5.7 lump out of here. Well, this is less than ideal. Went to Walmart to get some oil and stuff like that, pick up some medication, and the motor decided to try to lock up in my all-wheel drive truck. So now I am walking. Less than ideal situation. I don't usually have this tight of a deadline. I usually don't have a deadline. Usually I just work on stuff when I feel like it or when I have time. But as of right now, I have this deadline because I got to get to No Name. I'd like to be there Thursday night, but that's not going to happen. So hopefully I can get there Friday. So if I can get there and make a couple passes, I mean, I just want to show up. That's really all I got to do.
So that's out of the way, that's out of the way. Reroute that behind that transmission dipstick. There's someone interested in this 350, so I'm not trying to leave it complete as possible for them. It does run. You can throw this motor in another truck and drive it if somebody wanted to. I would rebuild it first because, like I said, it does have oil consumption. But if somebody's needing something to throw in a vehicle to give them back and forth to work, I guess this would be something they could use.
All right, we got all the bolts out of it, hopefully. All the wires unhooked. If not, we have our wire strength tester 5000 over here. It'll tell us which ones are unhooked and which ones aren't. But yeah, let's get this thing pulled out. All right, so the engine is out. Man, that thing is crusty. Still runs though, still runs. Trying to decide whether I want to do some cleanup under the hood or just stab that 5.3 in there. I mean, it's not clean either. Oops, floor's wet. And I'm not gonna clean it up and paint it neither. So, we're not gonna clean up under the hood of the truck either. Probably just gonna stab the motor in it. Well, I really hope to have the engine transmission in today, but with a series of unfortunate events, that didn't happen. The motor is toast in the all-wheel drive truck. This one was a mother to get out because it had twisted off bolt that made things worse. But tomorrow's a new day, and we were gonna make this crap happen one way or the other. All right, it's Thursday morning. Still hoping to have this thing done today. Not really looking promising. I got to pull some measurements from the cross member down here to the center of the motor mounts, because the motor mounts I got for the engine are slotted, so I got to determine what the length is before I tighten them up. That way when I put it in the truck, I'm not trying to maneuver it around. Once it's in, it's in. All right, got the old exhaust cut out of Trusty Rusty. Everybody's like, man, that truck sounds good. What kind of exhaust it got on it? Yeah, that one. Man, I really hate doing these down and dirty LS swap. I really hate putting this dirty crap back together. It goes against everything I am, but I don't have time to paint everything, so here goes. All right, the 534L60 is in. As you can see, we use stock frame mounts, just the Amazon motor mounts. Sits in there pretty good, right where it's supposed to. All right, got the intake on, got the harness ran. Need to change out throttle body because this is a drive-by-wire throttle body. We're doing drive-by-cable. Need to do exhaust. Let's see. Yeah, I'm running out of time. I gotta go teach class at 4, so yeah, probably not gonna happen. But I gave it everything I had, and I got really damn close. I'm probably actually gonna call this a freaking win, but the exhaust manifolds I have aren't gonna work, and my drive shaft's like 3 inches too short. So I don't know what I'm gonna do there, but yeah, that sucks, but it is what it is. Man, I gave it everything. Whew, tired, but I feel good. I accomplished a lot more than I thought I could. But you win some, you lose some.